or what is Boko Haram? The media is telling us that Boko Haram means Western education is sinful, right? You've heard about what's been going on in Nigeria. You've heard about the over 200, nearly 300 Nigerian schoolgirls who have been kidnapped. The exact number is not even known. And this happened 3 weeks ago. And it's just beginning to trend because of the hashtag Bring Back Our Girls. Now, this particular issue is very important. It's very important for all of us who care about humanity, and in particular about Africa. First things first, what's in a name, right? What's in a name? What does Boko Haram mean? This particular short report from ITN gives us what the media at large has not given us, but is a clear context of the name and the meaning of this particular name, even though they have a kind of Arabic, kind of a long mumbo jumbo kind of name, which, you know, is too much for the media. So they just basically, they've been so-called nicknamed Boko Haram. The media is telling us, the fascist corporate media, and I'm getting very suspicious with this story. First of all, I'm not doubting that Boko Haram or this Iman here, Shekau, something, Abdullah, whatever his name is legit. You know, he's a true believer in Islamism or Mohammedanism, and then we'll get a lot of Muslims and Muslims will say he's not practicing the true faith. I did another video where I show you what the Quran really says to do. People say there's a misinterpretation of verses. Do your own study and you'll find out, you know, who is lying and who is telling the truth. So, what does Boko Haram really mean? They tell us that it means Western education is sinful. Right? That's what they tell us. That's Western education is sinful. Check out this ITN report. We're going to play this from the top. Check out this particular report for yourself. And kudos to the ITN people for putting across a very sane, sober, and pretty well-informed reporting of what the name actually means, how the movement got started, who started it, when, and what this present, I can't even call it a conflict, really. It's like Boko Haram has a conflict, but Nigerians don't have any Second Amendment. They've been conveniently spiritually disarmed, you know, with whitewashed, blonde hair, blue eye Christianity. And then they've also been physically disarmed. But that's a related issue right there. So let's play this particular clip with the present Boko Haram leader Shekau Menamnete.
The video from the Boko Haram group is being poured over by the world. It's the first official claim of responsibility for the kidnappings of more than 200 schoolgirls in Nigeria. Not the first act of crime by the group, and they say it won't be the last. So who are they, and what are they after?
Good question.
Boko Haram is a radical Islamist movement, so-called first by the people in Maiduguri, where it was formed. Its name broadly translates from the local Hausa language as fake education is forbidden, but the fake has since become to mean Western. The group, formed by Muslim cleric Muhammad Yusuf in 2002, was initially concerned with stopping children being sent to schools it considered too westernized. Many Muslim families sent their children to a school at a religious complex in Maiduguri set up by Yusuf. Over time, it became a recruiting ground for soldiers to fight and follow the group's political aim of creating an Islamic state with Sharia law, something they wanted spread to the whole of Africa. The version of Islam it believes in says you shouldn't vote in elections, wear shirts and trousers, things that are considered Western. The group's first major attack came in 2009 when it stormed police stations and government buildings in Maiduguri. Shootouts on the street led to hundreds of Boko Haram supporters dead. Yusuf was eventually caught and killed. Security forces claimed the group was finished. It regrouped with a new leader and initiated a new wave of violence. A prison attack in Bauchi State in 2010 freeing hundreds of their supporters. A bomb attack in December that year killing 80 people, and a New Year's Eve attack on barracks in Abuja. Explosions in 2011, and the bombing of police and UN headquarters in Abuja in June and August. Over the last 5 years, thousands have died, and recent attacks have prompted fears they are spreading the violence from the northeast. Boko Haram believes the Nigerian state is run by non-believers and disputes the president's leadership. The threat has been recognized by the West. A US congressional report towards the end of 2011 warned the group was an emerging threat and labeled it a terrorist organization in 2013 with growing ties with Al-Qaeda groups, something Boko Haram denies. Analysts say the threat will only start to disappear if poverty is reduced and the education system supported by local Muslims is built. Nigeria is Africa's most populous country and the continent's #1 oil producer, but the daily lives for so many people are stark. An estimated 72% of people in the north live in poverty, around 27% in the south. Continued security is likely to be key, with elections only 10 months away. If the Christian President Jonathan wins that vote, fears of political, ethnic and religious tensions being stoked may be realized, with further action by Boko Haram.
Okay. All right. So, Boko Haram. Does Boko Haram mean Western education? Or does Boko Haram mean fake education? Now, what's interesting in this particular ITN report is that furthermore in the report it says that analysts, right, that there are these analysts who are looking at it and saying that, well, what needs to be supported is education amongst the local Muslim or Mohammedan leaders. But wait, hold on for a moment. How did Boko Haram start? It started because a local leader decided that the education that was being offered was too Western, or perhaps was too Boko, according to the Hausa dialect. So why is not the fascist corporate media telling us that, well, Boko Haram means fake forbidden. Fake is forbidden. That's what the name really means. It means fake is forbidden. But even in this report, the narrator says that it has come to mean Western. But now if you look on all these reports, because of the kidnapping of those nearly 300 Nigerian schoolgirls, they'll tell you that it basically means Western education is sinful. Wait. Hold on for a moment. Where did the sinful thing come in? Right? Where did this sinful thing come in? So you have to understand what Albert Pikey and what this whole so-called globalist agenda is all about. Where it said to pit the Christians versus the Muslims and the Mohammedans versus the so-called Christians, to pit them, that the final war in this globalist agenda, so-called Illuminati New World Order agenda, this Antichrist agenda, would be to pit, the final conflict will be along religious lines. And we are beginning to see and recognize, and should recognize, that the battlefield is predominantly Africa, and the victims of this predominantly are black people, so-called Africans. But many of the African people don't want to get it. Another narrative in this story that's not focused on, and I hope you pick up on this, is that these people, the Nigerians, are disarmed. They obviously have no Second Amendment. They have no Second Amendment, and they don't even have the so-called moral fiber to even defend themselves. There are reports of soldiers running away from Borno, Chibok State up in the north and everything. And also today, there was another Boko Haram attack in the marketplace, and they reporting that hundreds of people have been killed. You get me? Hundreds. Not that one or two people got into a fender bender. No, hundreds of people. Some people, Boko Haram people, Islamist people, opened fire and started to kill a bunch of people, right? No one could return fire because Nigeria and Nigerians don't have the right to self-protection. They don't have the God-given right to self-protection. That gives a whole new meaning to Boko, because Boko means fake. What kind of fake system is this? The people cannot even protect themselves. They're becoming educated, but they're not becoming educated enough to defend themselves. I mean, think about really what's going on here. So this report was interesting because I want to focus on what did the name Boko mean. One had told me, and I had picked up from elsewhere, that Boko, some assume it means book, right? And book. And it might have something to do within the local slang or dialect, how ones can look at the meaning of words. Sounds like boko. If you hear indigenous and Africans say the word book and they don't know English very well, it sounds like booker, like booker T, buku, booker, buka, buku, boko, so forth and so on. But they said in the local Hausa, now this grounds the meaning very much more clear for us in the local Hausa dialect of Nigeria. Boko sound like also Japanese. I think in Japanese have a word boko or something to that effect. And I'm going to have to go look that up. No, it's baka in Japanese. Baka in Japanese means, like silly, retarded, crazy, like something like stupid. It basically means stupid on that level. But Boko in the local Hausa dialect means fake education. Now, the solution of the analists, right? Those who are ramming Nigeria, right, with this New World Order, where they are becoming a pawn in this whole New World Order Albert Pikey agenda, is to support local Muslims, Mohammedans, like the Yusuf guy who started Boko Haram. He started, I think, a madrasha, the whole idea of a madrasha, like a school and everything. He started a local madrasha, and then out of that rose this Boko Haram at this like 2002, 2003. And it took the Americans, global Europeans, right, took them to 2013, I think, when the Anglo-Americans listed this as an emerging threat, right? An emerging threat. You see one white person or two Americans or three white people and Americans, black or white, but mainly white or Jewish. If it was Jewish, then really, European Jewish, you really get some traction on this. The Israelis might know how to deal with this. It'll be easier to deal with this than to deal with the so-called PLO Palestinians, because actually the PLO Palestinians, they're more in their right on that level. That's why it's not so easy for the Israelis to deal with that. But over here, they would definitely be in their right if they were in their right mind. But it's obvious that the so-called Christian president, good luck. See, everything in this story is upside down. It's on its head. Good luck, Jonathan. He's a Christian. What does a Christian have to do with good luck? Can you find good luck in your Bible? But anyway, names are very important. Remember, this is about names. What is in a name? So Boko Haram means fake education. No, it doesn't mean anything about education. It means fake is forbidden. In other words, according to their interpretation of Islam coming out of the East, you picked that up in the report. They said coming out of the East. So what's to the east of Nigeria? Sudan. These guys move around like the Janjaweed. In a sense, since there's a state now in southern Sudan, right? These guys have been told to move on. And their agenda is continental. Their agenda is to do this throughout Africa. How many Africans, especially if you're on the continent or even abroad and you have interests in Africa, are you taking this seriously, or are you proving Boko Haram and the Islamists correct because you're in a state of denial, right? That this is not that serious. It's not that serious a matter. That the right to self-protection and gun rights, in other words, every Nigerian, right, especially every Christian Nigerian, should have already got their guns. I know people say, oh, can you imagine what's going to happen? Well, what kind of Christianity are you practicing? You see, we can look at other Christians, like European Christians over here and Americans, and they don't run around being disarmed. Look at the Jews. It's only silly black people that continually fall for it, and in a strange way are proven ones like Nigeria's Boko Haram Islamists to be correct. I'm not saying that they are in the truth, but they are true to their beliefs, and they are doing what they say, and they are doing what their Allah, their God say. I know this is a controversial point because you're going to have other folks saying that, no, they're not real Muslims, so forth and so on. Boko Haram says, you're Boko. They say, you're Boko, because they're going to point to the Quran and say, this is what it reads in the Quran. And some of them might even read Arabiya Fusa, in other words, the Arabic of the Quran, and say, this is what it says. So who is really telling the truth right here? The first thing I want to make clear, and I want to emphasize this point, that Boko Haram means fake, forbidden. That's what it means. It means that fake, according to their interpretation, of course, you understand that the fake is forbidden. When the analyst, right, so-called analyst that said, well, what we need to do is to improve education and money and funds. I mean, look at that tanker they have back there. Look at their weapons. Look at their jeeps. You understand? How much munitions, how much ammunition do they have? They seem to be pretty well supplied. They don't seem to be running around begging. The question is, where are they getting their reinforcement of weapons and ammunition from? And then why are Nigerians so cowardly, so afraid? So where are the men in Nigeria? All right? People say, oh, you're stoking violence. Ask the European that, when they come, look what happened after 9/11. A couple of people get killed and everything. But now they say this is an emerging threat. It's an emerging threat. So from 2003 to 2013, almost 10 years. It took them 10 years for this situation that's been going on. People have been dying. What they're basically saying, the West and those in Africa, is that the death of black people, they don't value their own lives. They must not value, of course, the family members value their loved one that being killed and the people who knew them, so forth and so on. But it doesn't really seem as though we, speaking very, very, very generally, we black people, and we, speaking very, very generally, Africans, don't value our own lives, don't value our woman, right? It took 3 weeks, right? And what did the Nigerian government do? Right? You got people up in the north running in the bush. They have to leave their homes. They're so afraid, right? And so disarmed. Nigeria needs a new constitution. They need a second amendment, right? Anyway, let's just get into this just a little bit more. Let's just go into this. He's saying death, 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 right? That's what he's saying. They worship death. They believe in death. They love death more than life. That's what, maybe you don't believe that. Maybe I don't believe that. But this is what they say. Take them at their word. Stop being deniers.
The video from the Boko Haram group is being poured over by the world. It's the first official claim of responsibility for the kidnappings of more than 200 schoolgirls in Nigeria. Not the first act of crime by the group, and they say it won't be the last.
And you know what? They keep their word.
Who are they, and what are they after? Boko Haram is a radical Islamist movement, so-called first by the people in Maiduguri, where it was formed. Its name broadly translates from the local Hausa language as fake education is forbidden. But
fake education is forbidden from the local Hausa dialect. Fake education, BOKO or fake forbidden. Fake is forbidden. Look at this clip right here. I don't know if you can see it very well. They're at a fashion market right here. Some fashion market. Doesn't come up too much on the monitor, but it's like a fashion place. You know, a lot of these fakes be over there as well. You know, I mean, a lot of fake things. African don't get the real thing. They get the fakes. They take your raw material, everything else, and then sell you fake. Right? But let's go through this.
It's since become to mean Western.
Now, how did since come to mean Western? In other words, it means fake, BOKO, haram, forbidden. BOKO, fake, haram, forbidden. BOKO, Hausa, Arabic, from the Arabic, haram means forbidden. So we have BOKO, fake, forbidden. How did this come to mean Western? How does this come to mean Western education is sinful? Oh, so when they said fake is forbidden, they interpret this to mean that it's Western. And the Western media is saying that Boko Haram means, they didn't say it's interpreted, they try to say, oh, it's loosely interpreted to mean, because they're basically reading a news release, you know, a report they've been given, you know, from the government, their talking points, so forth and so on. Therefore, it is not real journalism. Therefore, it basically is fake journalism. Basically, what we're witnessing is fake journalism, even based on the name. And if they can't get the name right, probably in a couple of months, there might, or years, maybe another 10 years, then they'll be like, well, actually, it meant fake forbidden. It really didn't mean Western education is sinful. And the fact that education, they say, well, to solve this particular situation, we need to educate, have Muslim leaders educate their people. This whole thing started because of that. Listen.
The group, formed by Muslim cleric Muhammad Yusuf in 2002, was initially concerned with stopping children being sent to schools it considered too westernized. Many Muslim families sent their children to a school at a religious complex in Maiduguri, set up by Yusuf.
Did you hear that? They sent their children to a school that was set up in Maiduguri by Yusuf. Now, later on in this report, they're going to say that the analysts, so-called analysts, who want to sodomize the country and sodomize the people, that they basically say that it is by supporting the Muslim education. Well, wasn't this how it all got started to begin with?
Over time, it became a recruiting ground for soldiers to fight and follow the group's political aim of creating an Islamic state with Sharia law, something they wanted to spread to the whole of Africa.
Now that's the next point right there, to the whole of Africa. I can't tell you how many times I have reasoned with Ethiopians, with other Africans and black people that just are such infidels. That's the only word I can really use. Kahadi, Amarinya, but people might not understand Amarinya Lazi. BA, I will say infidel or deniers. Literally, Kahadi Malet, denier, Malet to know. The deniers. Isn't this exactly what the Boko Haram group is basically saying? Isn't it so fake to deny? Somebody says, I'm going to punch you in your face. And then they punch and you say, no, you're not, no, you're not, no, you're not. And they punch you in your face. And you say, well, why did you punch me in my face? And they say, well, I punched you in your face because I told you I was going to punch you in your face. And you said, oh, no, you're not. So you're faking, right? This obviously you're faking jacks. They're faking jacks with Boko Haram. They're faking jacks with the Black Al-Qaeda. And as Bob Marley said, more people will have to suffer, more people will have to die. Don't ask I and I why.
The version of Islam it believes in says you shouldn't vote in elections, wear shirts and trousers, things that are considered Western.
But hold on for a moment. Don't they wear shirts and trousers? Oh, they call them jalabas or jalabiyas, all right? In their bend over religion. All right, go.
The group's first major attack came in 2009 when it stormed police stations and government buildings in Maiduguri. Shootouts on the street led to hundreds of Boko Haram supporters dead. Yusuf was eventually caught and killed.
There he goes. That's the Yusuf. That's the imam or cleric from the north, Maiduguri, that they said started educating his people. And before they even started doing any attacks, they were already talking about their intent to establish a caliphate, a Mohammedan or Islamic caliphate throughout Africa. And there's many who are saying the same thing in various countries throughout Africa. What do you think the Africans or the Christian people are doing? They're denying it, right? So we're going to see much more of this. As Bob Marley said, many more will have to suffer, many more will have to die because they keep faking. You know, you tell them the truth and they keep fronting and faking like it's not real, pretending that it's not real.
Security forces claimed the group was finished. It regrouped with a new leader.
Well, stop for a moment. The security forces of Nigeria, look how they faked the people. They told them that, all this is finished because it will make them feel good. So who was lying and who was at least carrying out their word? This should be an easy situation to resolve, right? If the people, speaking about the Christians, were worshiping the real Christ, but because they're worshiping Antichrist, right? They're sacrificing their girls, they're sacrificing their people, and they're being killed without even an opportunity or the willingness to defend themselves. Survival of the fittest. Well, they're obviously not fit.
Initiated a new wave of violence. A prison attack in Bauchi State in 2010, freeing hundreds of their supporters.
Wow, check that out. What kind of coordination do they have? Right? They're only supposed to be Mohammedans in the north, right? So-called Bush people. But look what they're able to do. They're able to free hundreds of their supporters. What brotherhood?
Attack in December that year, killing 80 people, and a New Year's Eve attack on barracks in Abuja. Explosions in 2011, and the bombing of police and UN headquarters in Abuja in June and August.
Wait, hold on. They bombed UN headquarters, but the UN is not assisting in the fight against the Boko. Aren't they supposed to secure the peace and safety, sudden destruction?
5 years, thousands have died, and recent attacks have prompted fears they are spreading the violence from the northeast. Boko Haram believes the Nigerian state is run by non-believers and disputes the president's leadership. The threat has been recognized by the West. A US congressional report towards the end of 2011 warned the group was an emerging threat and labeled it a terrorist organization in 2013 with growing ties with Al-Qaeda groups, something Boko Haram denies.
Okay. What was the point? They dispute the leadership of the leader of Goodluck Jonathan. It seems like now a lot of the people who are so affected by the kidnapping and the potential enslavement and sexual rape of these Nigerian schoolgirls also are disputing the leadership. So you see the strategy, the artful strategy that is being played. The Islamics call it taqiya. You understand? It's like the snipers in the military say, down boy. You keep saying down boy until the sniper can get the range. You know what I mean?
Analysts say the threat will only start to disappear if poverty is reduced and the education system supported by local...
Wait, hold on for a minute. They said that the analysts are saying that if poverty can be reduced and local education supported, are these people fighting because they're poor? Or is that what they seek? Are they seeking riches in that sense? So the analysts got it all wrong. And as long as the Africans, Nigerians, and black people, and just people in general don't think for themselves, don't think with, I'm about to say what God gave them, they need to repent. And they need, really, these people, Nigerians, they need to repent, man. You know, we all do, but especially y'all. Y'all are in the line of fire right here.
Muslims is built. Nigeria is Africa's most populous country and the continent's #1 oil producer.
No wonder they have help from their fellow Arabs and Mohammedans and like these other ones in the Middle East and everything. Because of what? Because of oil, right? Because of oil, right? It's all about oil, right? And therefore, there's a mad dash between the globalists, whether it's the Europeans, the Americans, the Chinawi, the Chinese, and also the Arabs, right? The Arabs and the Mohammedans from the Middle East, you know, who are doing likewise activities, you know, Libya, you see the Brotherhood, the Muslim Brotherhood in Egypt, you see what's going on with Syria, the crucifixion of Christians, where they're actually crucifying Christians. See, y'all gonna deny it until it happens in Nigeria and it becomes a big news thing, and then you're gonna tweet about it. How sad.
Daily lives for so many people are stark. An estimated 72% of people in the north live in poverty, around 27% in the south. Continued security is likely to be key, with elections only 10 months away. If the Christian President Jonathan
Well, you know, we have to analyze what form of Christianity tells you not to defend yourself. What form of Christianity? I mean, where have you seen that? I mean, where did they learn about Christianity? From the white people, right? The Europeans. Well, let's see how the Europeans have practiced Christianity when they have been dealing with the violence and heathens and so forth and so on. How have they dealt with it? Is that the same example that we see these Nigerians who have been, these missionaries, right, who brought to them Western BOKO Christianity? Oh, my goodness.
Fears of political, ethnic and religious tensions being stoked may be realised, with further action by Boko Haram.
Can count on it.